pieces of our business that kind of make up the whole. So be thinking, what best fits you, and how can you utilize that inside of your business so that people really know and you get clear on what you stand for and what you're known for. I also talk a lot about Facebook Live. Now we're consuming television through our cell phones, right? We're not even watching TV. People are unsubscribing to Comcast and their cable networks because they don't need that anymore. We now have YouTube and Facebook Watch, and Instagram just launched their stories, so we're able to watch longer content, but in a more quick fashion. So that gives you guys the opportunity to get your message out in front of people. And so we know that video is an important way that people want to consume this information. And if you look at the content here, a recent study has showed that people gaze 5 times longer at content that moves. So basically they're watching video as opposed to still images. Now I know there's a place for photography, and I love photos because I think they're fun to take and post up, but video really is a super powerful way to promote your business. And you know what's great? You don't always have to be the person in the camera. For goodness sake, let's turn the camera around and show people, like, give them a look inside, show them. They want to be part of a community. They want to know what you're up to and what you're experiencing. And so we have this incredible tool called our cell phone, which allows people to come into our lives and live it with us. You know, the world is safer, it's more abundant than ever before. Through technology, we have the ability to transcend time, space, and distance with a click. We can literally text people right now who are in Asia or Europe or Latin America, and instantly they get our messages. There's one of my favorite authors, his name is Jason Silva. He says, "We are the gods now." It's like, that's amazing to think about, that we have superpowers, and the superpowers are really in our cell phones, which allow us to send our message across the globe. So don't be afraid to use technology to tie together your global community, to create awareness about your Jeunesse business and your products. So here's some interesting statistics for you. 80% of people would rather watch a live video from a brand than read a blog. How many of you guys prefer video over reading? Anybody? Can I see show of hands? Who would rather watch a video than read? Wow, that's like a third of the room. Okay, so we still have some laggards, that's all right, but most people like it. It's funny because I got some compliments in the hallway, thank you guys, about my shoes, but my feet hurt. And one of the ladies said, "Hey, I watched this awesome YouTube tutorial that showed me like what to do if your feet hurt." She was telling me all these remedies on what I could do, and I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. We are expert researchers. When we have a problem, we go out and we seek solutions, because now instead of having to go to the library and look through an encyclopedia for answers, we are able to just go online and ask Google, "Hey Siri," and our phones automatically work as our assistant to look up answers for us. So we're better researchers than ever before. 82% of people prefer live videos to a brand over social posts, so they're more interested in interactive content. That's one of the reasons why every week we bring you Jeunesse Live, because we want to give you updated news and information, great educational training, as well as interactive experience where you can ask those questions. And then video quality is also really important. But you know what, with the technology that you have in your hands, you have the best technology available. I mean, the cameras that you're using on your devices would have cost thousands and thousands of dollars just a decade ago. So it's incredible to think of what we have. And you know, it's not just young people who are good at utilizing these tools anymore. I saw a study yesterday that said 60% of Instagram users are now over the age of 35. So if you think Instagram is just for your kids, it's not. The user base is so much more vast and so much more diverse, and more adults are now moving into this phase of social marketing and consuming content through their cell phones. So it's not just young people, but young people obviously make up a huge market for us as well, and we want to share this message with them. So here's how they're spending their free time. Most of them online, so they're not watching TV, and unfortunately they're probably not outside running around either, but they're spending time on their devices. Their smartphone is the most frequently utilized device, and they frequently use more than one device at any given time. Does anybody else in here do that? I know I do. I'm constantly using, Ryan, I'm always using my cell phone, but then I have my iPad, or I sit and work on my laptop and I have my phone next to me. So it's not unusual for us to be using multiple devices. But think about what that means for your business. that means that the more content that you're sharing or the more social posts that you put out there, or if you're investing in any type of paid advertising for your business, you have even more opportunity to show up online to the people who actually want to hear what it is that you're saying. So I put together a content planning guide for you because I think as entrepreneurs, it's important to have a plan. They say if you don't have a plan, any path will take you there, right? If you don't know where you're going, you just end up wherever. So having a plan is important. We did this at headquarters as well, so this is your content planning guide. There's a variety of ways that you can post content. We talked about video, text, photography, sharing links, and there's all kinds of platforms. So don't be afraid to engage in Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, wherever you find the most interest. I find if I am not super interested in doing something, I won't give a lot of my time there, but you want to make sure that it's something you actually enjoy engaging in. So think about what your outcome is. So you have a responsibility as a marketer or an entrepreneur to be thinking, do I want people to engage with the post by making a comment or interaction? Do I want them to share this so more people are aware and can see the content? Do I want them to maybe order a sample from my website? Do I want them to join my business? So you have to be putting a little bit of strategy into your overall content plan, and this doesn't take very long, and I've included this little guide for you to help establish that. And then when we talk about a marketing mix, this is the style of content that you put together. So earlier we talked about who you are and what you're known for, right? Did anybody think about what they're known for? So it's interesting because I always think of topics that I like to share. So I talk a lot about travel, I talk about health and wellness, of course I support our company, I talk about my puppies because I love my dogs so much. So an interesting marketing mix that you can put together that represents who you are, because it's all about relationship marketing and personal marketing. These people are your friends, they want to connect to you, they want to be involved and feel a sense of community. So here's what I've established for you. Obviously this can change, but be thinking that you want to entertain your audience, because people do get online to be entertained. They want fun content that they can interact with. How do we inspire other people? I don't know about you guys, but I'm always needing inspiration, and it comes from a variety of places, but if you can be the person sharing that inspiration, you're setting yourself up as an expert. Can you start conversation by asking people questions, asking for resources, asking for recommendations? Hey, what's your favorite supplement that you guys take? Or hey, how many times a week do you go to the gym? These are questions that you can ask to engage your followers and your audience into the conversation. And then teaching people how to do things. How many of you guys in here have a specialized skill? Oh, just one? I'm gonna ask again. How many of you guys in here have a specialized skill set? That means you do something, you contribute value, whether it's through your work or it's something that you do it better than anybody else knows how to. Then you are an expert in that space. So all of us have incredible gifts and talents and things that we do that can help other people. I talked about one of the ladies in our business that every week posts cooking videos, and she just puts her camera up in her kitchen and she says, little tips on how you can clean your knives or how you can make Zen protein shakes better. And it's really fascinating, but how you present yourself as an expert to the marketplace. Hey guys, welcome. How you present yourself to the marketplace is teaching people how to do things will automatically make you an expert. And then sharing relevant information, really knowing who your audience is and what they want to hear from you. So defining your goals, because we want to have an outcome, right? We talked about the 80-20 rule. We talked about really focusing our time and energy on things that are going to give back to our business. So these are things like sharing relevant content. Of course, we intermix our personal lives on social because it's important, but we also want to keep in mind what our audience is expecting from us, so we bring back that consistency factor. And then showing off your personality and culture. People love this, and I'm obsessed with our brand, right? Because we're so diverse. Like, look at all the culture that's in this room, and look at all the people that we can surround ourselves with and things we can learn from one another. So be thinking about culture, travel, promoting events. Groups of people are always great to show because that's engaging, right? We all want to be part of a community or something, that fun that's happening and be a part of something. So doing that is really important. Establishing your thought leadership, staying on top of industry trends. Remember, the one thing that you're really good at, that skill set, how can you share breaking news or be sharing links from other notable sources that still showcase you as an expert. And then, of course, there's plenty of other things on here. Acquiring new customers could be a goal for you if you want people to try your products who've maybe never utilized Jeunesse before. Maybe it's just keeping in touch with your distributors and giving them further education. So the end of the game, you have to have a call to action, right? Because people really need to be told what to do. They need to know, do they visit your website? Do they order a sample? Do they buy now? Do they buy their ticket now? Do they get their package now? What action do you want those people to take? And then I wanted to share with you a really cool strategy that some of you may have already used, but it's hosting a virtual party. So we talked a little bit about how we have these amazing tools in the palm of our hand to be able to reach people worldwide. So you can bring a selected audience into your Facebook group and do a live video, do a product demonstration, do tips and techniques on how to use one of the products and show them and demonstrate it in a live setting, and then have them order your product within that environment. So I want you guys to consider hosting a virtual party inside of the Facebook platform if you want to get your message out to a very targeted audience. And I told you today that we would be giving you some tips, some tools, some tactics on how to be a better marketer. So I wanted to share with you some tools. Many of you may be using your mobile devices as a way that you communicate. Maybe it's through WhatsApp or WeChat, or maybe you're using Zoom. But these are just a couple of recommendations for you on how you can take your videography to the next level. So the first recommendation here is called a Diva ring light, and these are relatively affordable. You can get them online, but this is going to give you a beautiful glow on your face. I use these every week on my Hangout. And then the Lumi is such a cool device. Many of you have seen me take selfies with the Lumi. You just put it as a case on your phone. So if you're in an environment like this, for example, where it's a little bit darker, you're going to be able to have that light and be able to capture the photo, whether it's you with someone that you want to take a selfie with, or something that you're taking a photograph of. You'll have light readily available. And then webcams. Our phones, our iPads, our MacBooks, these are webcams, right? But if you want to take it to the next level, then you can certainly purchase an external webcam like a Logitech. These are great tools. And then if you really want to take it to an expert level, you can use a tool like a Canon or any DSLR camera, which certainly will take beautiful photography, but it's not necessary. Anybody can order a tripod and put their phone out there and take incredible video. And then audio. You want to make sure that your audio is clear because people are listening to what you say. Now videos are auto-playing, and we have the ability to do subtext on top of them, but you just want to make sure your audio is clear. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can insert a lavalier into your phone jack and connect that, and then if you're recording from a studio in your home, you can use an external microphone, which will also help take your audio to the next level. But at the end of the story, you just want to start somewhere. We always say perfection does not exist, right? So it's all about getting yourself out there and making yourself visible to your online community. So what do we say? It's like falling in love, right? It's being consistent, and it takes a lot of time. But the reality is you have to just give yourself a chance. So set up your favorite social network, get yourself online, and position yourself as an expert in the space that represents you the best. All right. How many of you guys learned something from that session? My shoe's stuck in the stage. Good. All right, so we're going to move into session number 2. So I told you that I prepared a little bit of a variety of content just to kind of keep things moving for you. So I want to talk to you about communication, because essentially how we communicate is our language of value, right? It's how we build our tribes, it's how we attract the right people, and it's how we build our businesses. So we also want to build our value, because as human beings, we all have a specific amount of value that we bring to the table. So we also need to be thinking, what is it that I bring to the table? It's just like relationships, right? Like they bring something to the table, you bring something to the table. Does it match up? You know, is it a little off balance? You have to be thinking of that. And it's the same way in our lives. We want to be constantly adding value to ourselves. So I love this quote by Tony Robbins. Anybody Tony Robbins fans in here? Yeah? A bunch of them. He says, the only way to become wealthy is to add more value to people's lives than anyone else is adding. How many of you guys know that to be true? You can always see that. The results speak for themselves. The people who become wealthy are providing value to the most people. That's how it works. So the reality is, when we look at an online version of that, only 1% of the population are heavy contributors. 9% are intermittent contributors, which means, every now and again, they'll publish something. Every so often they might put a post up. And 90% of people are lurkers. 90% of people are just watching what other people, they're consumers, right? So I always say there's content creators. These are people who are generating great content, that are sharing information, that are driving traffic to their websites. And then there's consumers. These are people who are watching. It's no different than buyers and sellers. So as a business person, a sale is always being made. Either you're a buyer or you're a seller. So you have to be thinking of yourself, even when you go online, is you are always selling. You're a seller. And those are the people who are making the most money. So it obviously makes sense that the content creators and the ones that are sharing are going to be the ones that draw the most attraction and therefore get the most transactions. So we have to be thinking about value. So what type of value are you adding that audience so you keep them coming back for more, right? So in my opinion, and I have it listed here on this slide, any life experience, insight, skill set, technique, concept, or training that can potentially improve the lives or businesses of others, you can define as value. I'm sure everyone in this room has something that goes along with that. It could be a life experience and something you've been through. It could be your business knowledge, or maybe even failures that you've come across along the way that you could then take and share that information, which leads to value. So we're going to cover the 4 E's again, and these are important when you're thinking of how you contribute value to your teams, to your downlines, to your community, to your family. Always about empowerment. And that's what we're here to do, empower people to live their best lives, to unleash their potential. That's what we stand for. Educational, these are how-to videos. These are how to get your best body, how to look and feel great, when you're on the move. These are all things that we work with here inside of Jeunesse. And then entertaining and enlightening. These are 4 E's that you want to keep in mind. And a lot of people come to me and they say, Cassiah, I'm just not really into the self-promotion thing. It just feels weird for me. But there is a big difference between self-promotion and personal branding. So as an expert, you have a responsibility to share with people your gifts and talents to help them find the results that they're looking for. If you don't tell them, how will they know that you have a life-changing business opportunity, or you have a product that could help them improve how they look and how they feel, or that we have an amazing program with Zen Project 8 where they could join a community to finally reach their goals and feel better. So don't worry about the personal promotion side of it. Don't think like that. Be thinking of a servant-driven leadership mindset in terms of personal branding, that you have a responsibility to help people find the solution that they're looking for and know without a doubt that you have it here inside of Jeunesse. So we talk about the law of compensation. What you put out comes back. This is the law of karma, and it's so true. The more value that you give, the more money that you make. That's just the way that life works. And so if we are looking at how to build our value, because that's what everyone always says, okay, well, how do I become more valuable? How can I build my value? What I always say is, it's just like when you were younger and maybe your mom took you to the bank and was like, okay, it's time to be an adult, and now we're going to get a bank account. Anybody do that? Remember as a teenager? So what you want to do is the same thing internally, right? So we all have an intrinsic bank account. We have a bank account within ourselves that we want to be depositing to all the time. So the fact that you guys are in this room right now, you are making a deposit inside of your internal bank account. The fact that you've shown up for university this weekend, deposit inside of your internal bank account. This is what helps your business grow. This is what helps you evolve as a human being. This is what helps you take your education in business and in life to the next level. It takes your relationships to the next level. So here's how you do it. I have the list here. I'm sure you guys can read it. You're welcome to take photographs of the slides. New life experiences, new skill sets, seeking out information, educating yourself. You know, most people never read a book after they graduate high school. Oh my gosh, like it's crazy to me. So reading books, reading articles, signing up for Entrepreneur Magazine or Forbes Magazine, anywhere you can get great content. Those are deposits to your internal bank account. So be thinking, you know what? It doesn't matter if your real bank account doesn't have $1 million in it. Does your inside one? Is it wealthy? So be thinking of how you can be making internal deposits into your bank account. And then, of course, seeking out knowledge. Congratulations to you guys. You're all here seeking out knowledge, how to improve your life. Being a sponge for information, we don't know how to do everything. I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of skills, but I'm certainly not as skilled as I want to be. I'm always looking to learn new skill sets. Martine was just saying that by the time her son graduates college, he'll have learned 4 languages, and I'm going, what am I doing with my life? Like, I can't speak another language, but it's so true. Like, things that we could constantly be learning. So it's never-ending personal development and improvement on ourselves. And when you add that value, then you have a responsibility to share it. So now that your inside bank account is so wealthy, you have a responsibility to take that great knowledge and that information and empower other people. Use it to educate other people, to take their businesses, take their health, take their lives to the next level. And then in terms of creating the content, there's a ton of ways that you can do that. You can do it through video, text, audio, all kinds of fun ways that you can create content and share it up online. And then in terms of communicating, gosh, it's kind of vague now, right? Because everybody speaks different languages. We rely on the internet for translations. There's not so much of a standard for grammar. Like, I know when I write the way that I talk. Now, obviously, I want it to look educated and be readable, but I also want people to feel who I am when they're reading it so that it sounds like me. So here's a couple of tips on how to really become a great communicator. How you're speaking and writing to your audience should be really natural. So I love, thank you for the compliments too, because people are always like, oh, your shows are so relatable. And I'm like, well, I just like to bring who I am. And we can feel when people are inauthentic, right? Isn't that kind of weird? You're like, oh, that's just not the right vibe for me. So be who you are, because who you are is amazing and you're unique. And you want to bring that to the marketplace. And ask if words that you're using relate to your audience. So if you're using slang or jargon or words that are maybe at a different level than your audience and they're not going to understand, it's going to be awkward for them. And then be thinking about what the outcome of the communication is. What do you want them to do outside of that conversation? Okay, and then now I'm going to give you, very quickly, 7 secrets for dimensional video marketing. Are you guys ready? I see lots of cameras. Good. I see lots of cameras on here, so get ready for 7 quick tips on how to take your video marketing to the next level. Tip number 1, get ready. That's an easy one, right? It's easier said than done though when you're an entrepreneur. How many of you guys know that's true? So wake up in the morning, get yourself together. Wear something that you feel comfortable in. Do your hair, do your makeup. Get yourself together, because it's important when inspiration strikes you. You ever just have those moments where you're like, man, I'm so inspired, and then you lose it? Or if something's overly planned, you're just not in that same energy. Get yourself ready so when inspiration strikes, you can act on it immediately. Number 2 is to change angles. So oftentimes we think getting in front and sharing our information works, but the audience needs stimulated every 9 seconds. So maybe that's walking with your camera, or just turning, or walking into your living room and then filming somewhere else. So changing your angles will help you. And then nonverbal cues. This is important in our businesses. This is important in our interactions that we have with everyone from our family to our colleagues. Your facial expressions, your body language, how often you smile, these things make a huge difference in terms of how people see you and relate to you. So nonverbal cues are really important. And then planting curiosity. So in the beginning I said, hey guys, in this 30-minute session I'm going to share with you this, and then we're going to talk about that, and then stay tuned because now we're going to talk about 7 tips. So those types of things keep people on the edge of their seat and plant curiosity. And then developing a specific cadence. Again, going back to being natural, being who you are, and not being afraid to just let your own natural tone and natural style work its way through. And then, of course, doing it. So it's important that you just stay really busy, right? Like, nothing is going to be perfect. It's going to take time to get to that level. You certainly want to put yourself in action. And then showing people who you are, because I'm a big fan, and I do this on my show a lot. We mix up drinks, and we're showing you how to implement things, and I'm showing you what's in my travel bag. But if you can be more visceral and tangible, like, it's one thing to tell people, it's another thing to show them. So these are things like dancing and the food that you're eating, or your puppies, or things that add extra life are really, really valuable. And then social proof. We have so much of this, whether you've sprayed your envy on your face and you look like a runway model, or you use Instantly Ageless and you see those bags disappear, or maybe you did the 8-week Zen Project 8 program and you had the most amazing before and after. Did I step in this hole again? You have the most amazing before and after ever. This will go down in history, the time that I stepped in the crack in the stage in my high heels. But before and afters are so valuable and super important to your business. We have a ton of them available for you on our social channels, so make sure you log into your back office or connect up with our social media channels so that you can get these incredible pictures. And then before I leave you, I just want to give you a dose of inspiration. It says, we generate fears while we sit, and we overcome them by action. Fear is nature's way of warning us to get busy. So I want to encourage you guys to continue pursuing all of your dreams, and don't let fear hold you back. Use this weekend and leverage it to get you to the next level in your business and in your life. Of course, I want to invite you every Saturday, and thank you to all of you who watch the show and support it so much. It is such a privilege to be able to share with you that content and give you the news and updates that's happening all around Jeunesse, and I absolutely am so energized by your feedback and engagements and encouragement. So every Saturday at 1 o'clock, please tune in for the latest happenings inside of Jeunesse. Guys, have an amazing weekend here in Jeunesse. Thank you for having us in Canada. We are so excited. Thank you guys so much. Are you ready to hear from Yolanda Halston? All right, guys, have a great event. See you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are excited to bring out on stage your NV brand ambassador. Make some noise for Yolanda Halston.
Me and my girls, me and my girls, me and my girls.
Hello! So excited to be here with you in Canada. This is a great opportunity for you to really learn not just about the product, but actually how to show people the product. I always say, showing it and wearing it equals selling it. And so you actually have to have your own experiences with it and be comfortable and confident into demonstrating it. So I'm a makeup artist. I started when I was 18 in Hollywood, did feature films, television, red carpet celebrity. Hollywood is the capital of that. And I also did a lot of beauty makeup for magazine covers and photo shoots and for Sports Illustrated, which actually those girls are wearing makeup even though it doesn't look like they are. And that's my specialty, is to apply makeup to where it just looks like great skin, like you just rolled out of bed looking that great. So I'm going to show you some tips on that. But in the course of my travels and in the course of my work, I actually had used just about every kind of foundation: concealer, BB creams, cream to powders, powder foundations, mineral foundations. I had used everything that you could possibly imagine for all the different types of lighting, different skin tones, different skin textures, age groups, and also different environment. You know, makeup goes on differently in a humid environment versus a very dry desert type of environment. And then of course all the ages, you know, the younger teenage girls when they start to wear makeup, all the way up to the more mature clients. But in my work, I have never found a single makeup foundation that could be used in all of those situations and skin types. So not one brand that you could probably think of your teenage daughter would wear your soccer mom would wear, and your grandmother would wear. The brands break up all the different types of products, and they focus each type on a certain age category. But with our product, with Envy, what we did was we brought together a skincare product, our exclusive APT 200, and with a color cosmetics to bridge the gap between skincare and makeup. So we really don't even think about this as makeup. It's actually really beautiful, the best of the best quality color for your skin, but it's also a treatment, which is so important because what we put on our skin, which is the largest organ of the body, and how we take care of it today, we're not even gonna see the results for years and years because your skin isn't going to be aging as it would if you weren't using the products. So with that, I would like to bring out my model. If you could give her a warm welcome. Go ahead and have a seat. Thank you so much. Here, let me just make sure that's, okay, let me just make sure that's, there you go. Yes, okay, make sure you're safe. So, the way I'm going to demo to you is the same way you would demo if you were having a party. When you invite people into your home or at your country club, generally they come looking like this. Beautiful, nicely dressed, hair done, earrings, eye makeup. So obviously in a situation like this or in a party, sometimes you don't have access to water, sometimes you don't have access to actually being able to replace their color cosmetics like their mascara. So we're not going to replace those. I'm going to show you how to apply this to her without having any of those issues. So the first thing I'm going to show you is she actually has a beautiful dress on, or a top, and I'm going to cover her up. And I like to use white tissue. A lot of people I see on your Facebook Lives, you're using a drape to cover up the clothing. But I like to use white tissue because this is actually going to be a tool for you to demonstrate. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drape her. And starting with proper skincare is always important. If you have someone that has very dry skin to begin with and you put makeup over the top of it, it's just going to look like makeup over the top of dry skin. So you always want to make sure that you're educating about skincare. So beautiful, healthy skin is the most important thing. Makeup, actually, whether you're wearing red lipstick or you're wearing smoky eyes, to me, the color cosmetics are just like changing your earrings. You know, you can do whatever is on trend or what just looks good on you, but your skin should always be beautiful. So we're gonna start with educating about the skincare. So you always wanna start with clean, hydrated skin. So hopefully, you know, their skin is already clean, but if it's not and you don't have access to water, I'll take a cotton pad or take a puff and put a little bit of the moisturizer on and just pick up whatever little bit that they may have on their skin. And then we are going to start with our Luminous skincare. So this is a serum. I always put this on first, but the reason I'm telling you this is because it really does help in the application of your Envy. So I put one pump. One pump is really all you need. If you put on too much serum, it takes a while to dry. So I just like to use the tips of my fingers, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that on. And I'm demonstrating this for you because I want you to see actually how long I want you to let this dry. So it goes on, it's a gel, and it goes on very hydrating. And whatever's left on my hands, which there always is, for myself and for other people, I put it on their neck, on their décolleté, and even on the backs of my hands, because I don't want to waste it. So we're gonna just let that dry for a minute. It shouldn't feel wet when you put your moisturizer over the top of it, because what happens with the serum is it is penetrating deep into the dermal layers of the skin. So what we're doing is we're creating building blocks and we're layering. So the serum goes on first, and when it doesn't feel tacky, then I am going to use my daytime moisturizer. So the daytime moisturizer actually is great because it has SPF 30. We want to protect our skin. We're doing all this great work to keep our skin looking younger. So obviously to protect it from the environment is really important. On the tips of my fingers, I like to just press and pat, not pulling the skin too much. If I'm gonna blend, I use my outside fingers because they're not as strong. And I'm gonna put this on, and I'm gonna let this soak in about the same amount of time as I would take to brush my teeth. So get out of the shower, clean skin, put your serum on, let that penetrate deep, then your moisturizer goes in, and it also penetrates, but it hydrates the surface. So you wanna let this soak in. Now, your Envy products are very long wearing, but if you go and you put your foundation right over the top of your moisturizer before it soaks in, then the product is going to float. It doesn't give it enough time to truly bond to the skin. So we're gonna let this soak in for about that amount of time. I'm gonna say like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. So brush my teeth, or I'll go run and do something else. So, you know, this is a great opportunity while the product is soaking in to actually talk about the features and benefits, talk about the education of good skincare, and talk to them about also just the fact that our product is long wearing. Once you put it on, it's gonna stay put. But putting it on and allowing it to layer, like I said, is a really important element in keeping it on the skin. So now, this is our primer. Our primer is an amazing product because it is 5 primers in one. So when you spray your face with this, everywhere that you spray is going to be primed. So you have a lash primer, lash builder, lids, skin, lips. It's going to keep your lipstick on longer, and it's going to help your lipstick go on smoother and not bleed. And then also just your skin. So you've got lashes, lids, brows, lips, and skin. So this is also a fantastic product to actually practice with. If you are not familiar with spraying a product on your face, it's actually a really great way to practice, because if this can was water and it's totally clear, so you don't have to worry about it if you're a little hesitant about the spraying, and you want to shake the can. If you don't remember anything else I say today, always remember to shake the can. That's what makes the product work. So you want to shake it, pretend like it's water. If it was water, I wouldn't spray it here, would I? Because I would get really wet right in that spot. And I wouldn't spray it too far back, because then the product isn't going to go onto my face. So it's just right where that 90-degree angle is, right where it feels comfortable, right where you would spray your face with water, and you're going to do it just like this. That's it. I just primed my entire face in 1 second. And a little bit goes a long way. So if you have very dry skin, you certainly can layer this as well as you can the foundation, or you can apply it the traditional way. I have some people that have very open pores around their nose and on their cheeks, where they can actually just take the primer and put a little bit more just in those spots as well. So I'm gonna have you turn towards me just a little bit. And like I said, this is an excellent product to practice with. So the spray pattern is this wide, about the size of a golf ball. And when I spray it, you can see it goes right in between. So a very narrow mist right down the center of the face is really all you need. If I went like this, I'm gonna lose about 2/3 of my product. And so we wanna make sure that we're not wasting the product. So just a little tiny zigzag is all that's necessary. So one quick mist, just like this. And before I spray someone's face, I always put my hand on their shoulder so they know it's coming. So one quick mist, just like that. She's primed. A lot of people ask me, is the primer necessary? I get that question all the time. Well, when you prime first, you're gonna use less of your foundation and less of your other products because your skin is all different textures. So the skin around your eyes, your lids, and your lips, and even underneath your chin are very delicate, very smooth and soft. The skin on the forehead and on the cheeks and on the décolleté is a little bit more porous. It's a little more rough. So what we're doing is we're creating a smooth, consistent surface so that your makeup goes on smoother. And I actually, like I said, I use less product. So this is a great product to actually allow your person that you're demonstrating with try it themselves. So I'm gonna give you the can, and I'm gonna let you do your spray. One quick mist, maybe right about there, little zigzag right down the center, go ahead and spray. She did great. Maybe a little longer than you needed, but you know what, that's the thing, is that when you start playing with it, and you start seeing how it looks on your own skin, then you know what your perfect amount is for you. So, and you can adjust your primer and the amount that you use according to your skin type. One thing I want to just go back and mention is that if her skin is very dry, which she's not, she's great skin, but if it's very dry, you can always bump her up to using the night cream. The night cream actually I use as my, my eye cream. I put it on my cuticles, I use it everywhere, and when I travel, I use my night cream during the day. So I like to say, just because it says night cream doesn't mean that you can't use it if you have very dry skin all the time. So there's your primer. That was fast, that was easy. Let me see your skin tone. We're gonna choose a color. So this is actually really great for you. We only have 9 shades, and I have traveled from Scotland, Ireland, to South Africa, to Puerto Rico, to Brazil, all over Asia, and we have a skin tone color that works on everyone. And that's really important. You don't have, 60 different shades to choose from. The shades are very forgiving because in this entire bottle, there is only 8% mineral pigment in here. Everything else is your skincare, your APT 200, your antioxidants, your vitamins and botanicals, the vitamin A, the vitamin E, the vitamin D, aloe vera, and that APT 200, which is just an amazing product because what it does is it helps to regenerate your skin cells and keep your skin looking younger longer. So I'm gonna try a few shades. Our skin colors, our skin tones are broken out into 3 sections, so it's really easy. We have a light, which is shades 1 through 3. We have a medium, which is shades 4 through 6, and a deep, which is shades 7 through 9. So if you know your medium skin tone, which you are, medium skin tone, and also whether you're yellow based or more red based, which you would use a neutral. So we have warm and neutral. So she has a lot of yellow and red in her skin. She could probably go either way. So I'm gonna try the 4 first. The 4 is Cool Buff, and it's gonna be our #1 selling medium shade. It's a neutral skin tone. So shake the can, and I'm gonna spray a little bit just in the palm of my hand. See this? This is what it should look like. When you shake it, and you spray a little bit into your hand or onto a palette, it should look like a little creamy round circle. If it looks too watery, then keep shaking. And that's the consistency that you're looking for. Now I'm actually gonna just put a little bit right here on her chin and see if that's gonna work, and it should just melt in and completely disappear, which it did. So I'm gonna use what's left in my hand, I'm gonna use this as her concealer, because with this product, even though it is super light and very sheer, I can layer this and build this product up to get the coverage all the way up to a tattoo. So I'm gonna go around the corner of her nose. If you have somebody that has, heavy freckling that they like to cover, redness, rosacea, dark circles, I like to do this first. And I do this because, first of all, you can use it as your concealer because there's no oil in it. What's gonna happen is it's gonna stay, once it dries, it's gonna stay put and you don't have to powder it. So you get a really beautiful, nice highlight. And I'm gonna apply it with my finger. You can also apply this with a sponge, with a brush. There are no rules when it comes to makeup. It's however you feel comfortable. Now, if I spray the product on, I'm gonna get a really true airbrush effect, which of course I love, being professional. But if you want to apply it the traditional way, you certainly can. The can is sealed. So why is that important? It's important because nothing can get in the can. A lot of people say, oh, I don't wear makeup, it makes me break out. Well, generally speaking, it's not the makeup that causes the breakout, it's what's been introduced to the makeup, the contamination. That is so important. For your young teenagers that have breakouts, it's because we don't think of our own bacteria as bad bacteria. So we go, put our finger in it, we touch here, or we use a sponge that isn't clean, and you're just moving that bacteria around. So with our product, it is first time fresh every time you spray your face. There's no possibility of contaminating it. Secondly, nothing can get in the can, nothing can get out as well. So as soon as you take the lid on and off of a typical bottle of foundation, you get evaporation as soon as it is exposed to the environment and the air. So just with the typical use of taking the lid off, in 1 week, you lose 26% of everything that evaporates. That's the water. That's your APT 200, that's your vitamins and botanicals, if this wasn't sealed. But because it is sealed, every time we spray our face, it doesn't matter if it takes 30 days to use your can, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, it's going to be 100% formula every time, first time fresh. And that is beauty with benefits. So, now I'm gonna spray. So this is what you're gonna do. In a party situation, I've concealed. Now I'm just gonna pull her hair back. I'm going to cover her lashes, and I'm going to cover her earring with my thumb. I'm gonna do one quick mist. Always shake the can. One quick mist, just like that. That's it. That's airbrush. And you can see it's not wet. If you apply this product to yourself and you open your eyes and your face looks wet, then it's because either the can was too close or you sprayed for too long. And that's okay. You're just gonna take your puff and you're going to wipe it off the brows, and then I like to just press it, just like that. Now, if you have a little bit too much product on the skin the first couple of times, that's okay. You can just lift it with your puff or with a makeup sponge, and then the next time you know, just to have the can a little bit further back from the skin. And that literally is one application, so you can get customized coverage by layering it, and this is why it works on everyone. So the first mist is like a tinted moisturizer. The second mist would be the coverage you would get from a liquid. The third mist is the coverage you would get from a full coverage, a cream, a heavier powder foundation. And then with 4, you can cover tattoos, spider veins, you name it, anything, scars. I've seen really severe sun damage with heavy freckling. This will cover just about anything. The key is that you want to remember to layer it, not to try and put too much on at once, because if you put too much on at once, what's gonna happen is, open and look up, what's gonna happen is it's gonna take too long to dry. And I don't know if you've ever tried to put one thick coat of fingernail polish on, and it takes really a long time to dry, you mess it up, and it would have been so much better to just do those little tiny layers, those little thin layers, and let them dry in between. It only takes a few seconds to dry if you put on just a little bit, but you can see the difference in her cheeks. That's just with one mist. So you can actually apply more than what I'm applying right now, but I'm actually gonna do just one mist because I'm gonna show you a couple of other techniques, a little bit more advanced since we're getting an education today. So now I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. One quick mist, close your eyes. Do a little bit more. Now this is a great opportunity for you to actually hand her a mirror. Because when she opens her eyes, she knows that this is what it should look like after she's finished spraying. And if she opened her eyes and she looks like a glazed donut, she probably sprayed a little too close or for a little too long. So you want her to know that this is what to expect. when you open your eyes before you even touch it. So then I'm gonna take a puff and I'm just going to press. This is setting it. Now once I've done that, no powder is required. You can use powder if you want to, but you don't have to, because this will stay put on the skin until you take it off. And I mean, you have to use a cleanser to take it off. It's good to use a washcloth as well, because then you get that little bit of exfoliation. But our Luminous Youth Restoring Cleanser is all you need. But water will not remove this. She could swim all day, and it will not come off until you take it off with your mild cleanser. Water won't budge it. Okay, so that is the perfect amount of foundation. That's all I'm gonna apply as far as foundation goes. Now I'm gonna show you bronzer. Bronzer is my number one favorite product. This is my, I do not leave the house without this on my face. It doesn't matter if I'm running to the market or dropping my kids off at school. It just warms my skin up. I actually literally hosed my legs down with it before I came out here. So you can wear this product head to toe, and it just gives your skin that beautiful, warm, golden caramel with a little bit of pearl to it. So I call it the glow without the disco. There's no sparkle. It's just a really beautiful, healthy glow that you get. So with this product, you can do it a couple of different ways. You could actually spray it directly into the skin like this, around the circle, and I just dodge the nose. Or you could spray it on a big fluffy powder brush, like this. And then you can apply it the same way you would apply a bronzer. Just like that. And it gives your skin just a gorgeous warmth and a glow. This shade right here is actually the exact same shade as Beyonce's skin tone. So you get that gorgeous golden warmth with a little bit of glow. And you could put this all over your neck and on your décolleté, and I have people that put it on the backs of their hands. So it just evens out the skin tone and gives you that gorgeous glow. And like I said, there's no rules. You can actually use as little or as much as you want, and use it on the arms and on the legs and everywhere. So now we're getting into the fun stuff. I'm actually gonna take a darker shade of foundation, and I'm gonna do some contouring. I don't know if you watch a lot of the YouTube tutorial type makeup demonstrations, but you see a lot of girls doing this really dark contour and really light under the eyes. We can get that same look with using our very sheer product, and it goes on and looks so much more nice and blended. So this is Halle Berry's shade. This is the 8. N8, it is Cool Toffee. So you can see how she's nice and tan on her arms, but she was probably wearing her sunscreen on her face, so she didn't get as much color. So I'm gonna just take this color and I'm gonna bring it up to her face. So I'm gonna use a foundation brush for this just so I can be a little bit more specific. You can use your fingers if you like, you can use a makeup sponge. But I always put the color up on the forehead, because that spot is always gonna get a little bit more color because it's closer to the sun. And then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna make the shape of a 3. This is how you contour the face. So you bring it down here, then you're gonna bring it up underneath the cheekbones, I'm gonna turn. And then also along the jawline. And blend it down. See how that just brought that color? Bring your hand up to your face. It brought the tan up to her face, and it just gave her such a nice look. You could skip this step, but I always like to show it because it's just such a nice little trick. And the more you know about your product and the more you can share tips and tricks with your customers, the more you are going to be the Envy Beauty expert. And everybody wants to learn from the expert, right? So knowing all the things that you can do with the product is great. But if I'm standing in front of someone and, you know, they're wearing their hair natural, they're wearing yoga pants, and they're, you know, you could tell they're really kind of a low maintenance customer, I don't need to necessarily share this with them. But then on the next customer that I come along to, she's dressed super trendy, you know, done from head to toe. This is a trick that she's really going to be interested in. So you can use this along the sides of the nose, under the chin, create that nice, beautiful, highlighted and contoured look. All right, now, next, this product is going to be one of your favorites. This is our shimmer. We launched this in Asia last year. It's becoming available here in North America as well. This product, I actually developed this shade specifically to be used on the movie Twilight Breaking Dawn to give the moon glow. So that is something that you can do by, I'm going to very specifically put it in spots, but for someone who has very pale skin, instead of using the bronzer, you can use this underneath your foundation and it gives you this glow from underneath that is just dynamite. And people will ask you, what are you doing to your skin? It looks so good. So I'm gonna run a little bit down the center of the nose. You see this in a lot of YouTube tutorials as well. Little bit here on the curve of the lip. And then we're gonna do the cheekbones. And I always kind of bring it up and around. I'm using my finger. You can actually apply this with a brush. You can blend it with a brush as well. And that gives a really pretty glow. As a makeup artist, we call this strobing. And so it's a very specific trick that makeup artists use. This is a nice fan brush. I'm going to actually spray it directly on the brush to do the other side so you can see it being used multiple different ways. So the fan brush, you're just going to brush it directly onto the skin, just like that. And you're going to get that gorgeous highlighted look. You can also put this in the corners of the eyes, on the lids. I actually use it directly on my brow bone with a brush. You're going to see how beautiful that is. You can see a really nice light highlight. So when you apply it with a brush, you're going to lay down more product. So when I use my finger, it goes on more natural. When I use a brush or a sponge, the applicators actually absorb more of the water, and so you lay down more straight pigment. So there we go. Put a little on with the brush, and a little bit in the corners of the eyes. Now, all she needs is a little mascara, which she has on, and her lips done. And this is all you need. You could actually add color, but we have literally done a full beauty application. This would take me in my house about 3 minutes to do without all the talking. So the reason I put these tissues here, I mentioned to you earlier, I'm going to pull that out. I use them as a tool because the first thing everyone's going to think when you're going to spray something on is that it's going to go all over the place. So this served two purposes. It made her feel comfortable while I was applying the product. She didn't have to worry about her clothes. And then when I'm done, I take them off and I show her nothing on the white tissue. It's perfectly clean. So it's a good tool to use. I always have a box of tissue with me, and I always carry my shade in my bag so that when I'm going to show somebody in a public environment, like if we just happen to bump into each other at the market, and she says, "Wow, your skin looks great," I'm like, "Let me show you what I'm using." So I pull out my shade, and people traditionally are very loyal to their moisturizer, their foundation, and their mascara. Those are the products that people, when they find something that works on their skin, they typically stay with it. And the only reason they would switch to something is if you could show them how it was better, how it was faster, how it's going to give them that beautiful skin that you have, that they're complimenting you on. But it's not very often that you're in a environment where you could actually have someone sit down and have you do an application like this, unless they came to a party expecting it. So what I like to do is I like to spray it on the inside of my arm. And because I'm putting it on my own skin, it gives them a sense of comfort. And so I shake the can, I put a little bit on, just like that, and then I take my puff and I press it. Just like that. Now the beauty of doing this is that you actually can see a dramatic before and after. Even on skin that's really smooth, you can see it's just completely erased the veins, the modeling of the skin tone, and everyone will offer you their hand. So to be able to actually apply this to my skin like this, now she's open. It's a door opener. Now she's open to allowing me to apply it to her face. So I always carry my shade, and then you can show layering. That's the second mist. And that's what it should look like. This is a really great way to get people to see how it should look when they open their eyes. So now I'm gonna press with the puff again, buff it. You can hear it buff. You'd think I'd be wiping it off, but look at the difference. And you can't tell where makeup stops and starts, and that's really important. In an environment where it may be very humid, if you have a spray water bottle or even just a bottle of water and you pour it over the top of your arm, or if you have access to a sink, run a sink water of the faucet over the top and just watch the water just bead up and roll off. Totally water resistant. Cassiah and I come out here, we have it on our legs. We go out to the event. By the time we get back to the hotel, you know, it's usually kind of late in the evening. I don't get in the shower and shower off what's on my legs. In fact, most of the time I forget it's even there because I can't feel it. And then I wake up the next day and think, oh my goodness, I got in those white sheets, it's gonna be a mess. Well, no, it's not. It doesn't come off, it stays on. How does your face feel? Really light and very natural. Ultimately, with all the primer and the foundation and the concealing and the contouring and the highlighting, she has several layers of product on the face, and it just doesn't feel like anything, which is why men love this product too. I get so many men that use it, not only actors and models, but all of our guys. If you're a distributor, you're doing your FaceTime lives. You're doing sometimes speaking events like this where you get up and tell your story. So having that opportunity to also share it with men, we don't typically, like I said, we don't call it makeup. This is a bridge from your skincare. It's every single one of these cans. It doesn't matter what the shade is, primer, foundation, bronzer, shimmers, all have the APT 200. So I actually have men that put their Luminous moisturizer on, and then they spray the bronzer in their hands and they put it on with their fingers. That's okay too. Every different way there is to apply it. Ultimately, it's great for your skin. It's great for the environment. There are no ozone depleting chemicals in it. There's nothing in it that is harmful to your skin or to the environment. There's no animal testing. Very important. I hear that question a lot. So I would really like to just share with you a few things that people are going to ask you. Because if you are the MV beauty expert and you're sharing this product, they're going to ask you some certain things. One that I hear a lot is, how long does a can last? There is 1.5 ounces in this bottle. Typically, in your typical bottle of primer or foundation, there's usually only 1 ounce. So there's a little bit more product in here. And what you're going to get is this. That's a 1-second spray. You're going to get about 300 of those. So everybody's can is going to last a little bit different because we all are going to apply it differently. Some people are going to conceal with it, some are not. Some people are going to layer it to get customized coverage. Some are only going to use a little tiny bit, and they're going to use it sparingly because they just want a very natural look. And then some people are going to be spraying their legs down with it. So obviously, the more sprays that you use, the faster your can is going to go. With typical use, The way I apply my can, a little bit in the palm of my hand. I do my concealer just like I did her. I use my N4 right down the center of my face. Then I take my 6 and I go around the outside like I did with her. And I use my bronzer. So I'm using multiple shades. I usually year-round have about 3 shades of my own going. The 4, the 6, and the 8. And the bronzer and the shimmer. But you can see, though, when you're using them in different ways, you're not using one product all over. My cans last me upwards 3 months. 3 cans, 3 months. When I come to an event like this and I spray my legs from the knees down with the bronzer, my bronzer is not going to last me as long. And I always say this, and you should too, the first can that you get is always going to go a little bit faster than all the other cans that you use. Because you're experimenting. See, you're shaking your head, yes. You're experimenting with it, and you get excited. You're showing your daughter, your friends, your mom. So your first can you're going to burn through a little bit quicker than the ones that you have later on after you have learned your perfect technique. The product is wear resistant. It is water resistant. When I'm doing a bride and she's going to be wearing a white wedding gown, I see so many times people just put the makeup on their face, but they don't do their décolleté, and then it doesn't look quite right, especially because we all have high definition cameras. So any skin that's exposed, any skin that's showing, for photography especially, for red carpet, for weddings, they're going to have products everywhere where there's skin exposed. So that being said, pressing it with your puff, clean puff, no powder on it necessary, pressing it and then buffing it like that. That is going to allow whatever little particles that are maybe sitting on the tiny little hairs that's on your skin, that's just going to lift all that, and so that there's not going to be anything to transfer. Especially if you're wearing a white collared shirt or, like I said, even a wedding gown. So if I have access to, after I've done body makeup or legs, if I have access to a shower, I'll just put the bride in the shower and have her rinse off. Because exposing it to water makes this product even more wear resistant. And so if I don't, I'll just use a water bottle. You can just mist it with just a little pump water bottle, let that water dry, wipe a tissue over it, see if it comes off. If it doesn't come off, then you are good to go. And trust me, if you tell somebody that a product is going to stay on and not come off on the clothing, make sure you educate them on how to get that result. Also, people are always asking, is it going to come off when I go to the gym? You have a little testimonial about that. She was telling me earlier about actually getting her first can and then putting it to the test, going to the gym, working out, just making sure. And then you did a Facebook Live, didn't you? Or a hike in the sunshine. So, yeah, and then being able to tell your stories. For me, ultimately, I could tell you hundreds and hundreds of stories of people that I've shared the product with. When you're actually telling your stories, you're just sharing your experiences. You're not even really selling. You're just giving them your expertise. I was in Japan, and I was on a stage like this, and I had several models, and their skin is just beautiful, and so I applied the product. But in the course of my demonstration, I said, and this product will cover scars. It'll cover varicose veins. It'll cover spider veins. It'll cover rosacea, and all these different things. And when the show was over, one of the models stopped me and asked me if it would really cover scars. She had 2 scars on both sides of her ankles where she had had surgery as a child. And she said, I've never worn a skirt. I didn't go to the beach with my friends and wear bathing suits because I was embarrassed of my scars. And she's like, would it really cover it? And I said, sure. So she sat down and I sprayed a little bit in the palm of my hand like I just showed you with the concealer, and with my finger, I just ran it right down the center of the scar. It was very kind of a reddish brown. It was an older scar. And so I just fixed the color, and then I did one quick mist, and she literally started crying right there on the spot. So you're gonna have your own types of stories, experiences with people, from the people who have beautiful skin to begin with, that really don't need makeup, but when you see it side to side, you realize how much better it looks. Everything looks better airbrushed. And then if you have somebody that has a special need and you can actually help them, to give them a solution so that it literally is like taking a string and pulling them up. They walk a little taller, they seem brighter, they're more confident, and that is such a gift that you can share with people. Not only the beautiful longevity of great, healthy looking skin, but that instant gratification. And you know, with Envy, the great thing is that you really do get to see the instant results. The before and afters, and sharing those stories on your social media, that's gonna be amazing and great for your business. But actually when somebody gets it on their own skin, and then they go get into their car and they look in the rearview mirror, or they come home at night and they have to wash their face and they don't want to because their skin looks so good. But yeah, just having your own stories, being able to share your experiences, and honestly, get it on your own skin and just walk around and people are gonna ask you what you're doing differently. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I hope that you learned a little bit more about Envy, and I am your brand ambassador. I'm here for you. Find me on social media, on Facebook or on Instagram if you have questions. Send me messages. I respond right away. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
你知唔知個 model 係邊個？